Jones joining us, author of Exactly What to Say. Well, I know we don't have you for a very long time today, so I'm going to jump right into it. And I want to start at the place of where this book came from conceptually and what made you want to write Exactly What to Say.
Andre, great to be here. Thank you for having me on the show. And in response to your question, what made me want to write it is I couldn't not write this book. That was where the challenge came from. Is I've been training non-salespeople for somewhere like 20 plus years of my life. And we would deliver frameworks and information and strategies and principles that would allow people to be more effective and persuasive and influential in the moments that mattered. Yeah, all that anybody would ever remember is like, Phil, I love your magic words, or Phil, can you just tell me exactly what to say? And anytime you find yourself sharing the same information on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, what you're best to then be able to do is to create a tool or a resource that stops you having to explain everything again from day one. So the book, Exactly What to Say, started as a 2-page PDF. It then became a book called Magic Words. It's further evolved into Exactly What to Say. It's also evolved into Exactly What to Say for Real Estate. And now it's this bigger, giant body of work. But I didn't decide to write it. The marketplace asked for it. I just choose to package it in a way that was more useful.
I love that. And I love that you talked about the entire process of it, that you didn't just get up and say, hey, I'm going to go write a book. It started way over here, and then you kind of brought it all the way to this sort of final production. Now, my favorite line from Family Reunion was most people think about what to say in the moment they're about to have that conversation. What is it that makes that happen?
I mean, what is it that makes that happen? I believe that one of the big challenges that many people have is that we worry so much about ourselves or are fearful of responses or reactions of others that we don't give consideration of how we can prepare for the moments. I give the simplest of examples is I would imagine that at least 2 people listening to this conversation right now will step through their doorway this evening, and the first time they'll think about engaging with their spouse, their children, their friends, somebody they care about is when they're right there. And it becomes the, like, how's your day? How you doing? Like, how's things type response. Because we didn't give consideration to that high impact moment ahead of time. And I don't think we mean to do it. I think we care so much about outcomes and results. We don't give the consideration to the moment that we can influence that result or response. The classic example in real estate is people put so much emphasis and impetus on winning appointments.
Right.
You know, whether it's a buyer console or a potential person to join team or a listing presentation. It's like, I got to get there. I got to get there. Got to be ready. I've done my homework. I've got my tools, but they don't think about what's going to come out their mouth.
Right.
And how they drive traffic towards an open house. And like people show up to the open house and then we burn all the opportunities by engaging with those people in a less than awesome way.
And so what's stopping us from doing exactly that? Like you mentioned, we know we're going home, we're going to see our spouse, we're going to go into this appointment, we have the time to prep it, yet most of us don't spend the time doing that. What's the reason that's keeping us from doing the prep work?
I mean, there could be hundreds of reasons as to why not. But I'd argue that one of the greatest expenses to most people in their business right now is their experience. Because you're pretty darn good at digging yourself out of a hole, you don't have to get prepared anywhere near as much as you should or could do, because you know the 4 out of 10 version of yourself is not a problem most days. And where it is, you've got the skill to dig yourself out of it. So you keep choosing to do it the hard way. What professionals do is they practice. What professionals do is they get ready. You know, a pro spends hours and hours and hours on the practice pitch so that they are ready for the moments and the minutes that exist on game day. Yet most people in the workplace aren't prepared to do that. They think it's about skill or ability or natural talent. And there isn't an example in the professional field of anything where natural talent gets you on the podium. Like natural talent might get you in the game. It might fuel some early experience, but natural talent doesn't get you on the podium. Practice and preparation gets you on the podium.
Right. Couldn't you argue though as well that, you know, that feeling of sort of winging it, we'll use that terminology.
Yeah.
Does that make people feel more significant or give them importance to be able to say, hey, I solved this immense problem. I went in, I winged it. Look at me. I'm a hero.
Yeah, in some ways, if you have a lazy mindset, right? You go out, shoot hoops with some buddies, you throw a ball from over your head and it lands in the basket. Everybody thinks you're a superhero. But show me 100 reps where you can do it on repeat. So the fact that we didn't plan or we didn't prepare and we can't do it with consistency gives false confidence. And we like to feel confident and successful. Therefore, if we didn't have a plan, we didn't properly prepare, we're learning to use our skills and winging it, to borrow your words there, we therefore couldn't get it wrong. Therefore, it wasn't our fault. Therefore, we can abdicate responsibility. Whereas if you prepared and you put the work in to be ready ahead of time and it still didn't work out, well, you then have to be prepared to take responsibility for that. And that's what many people aren't prepared to do, is to take personal responsibility for their outcomes. So therefore, if I didn't try my best, I didn't prepare, didn't put the work in ahead of time, and it didn't work out, not my fault.
And that just makes us feel better at the end of the day.
In the short term, yes. You might feel better, but you don't get better.
Right. You might. I love that line. So, we know that you're coming up April 23rd. That's part of why we wanted to do this today. And one of the things you said in that conversation was, let's go live. Let's have people listening in on why they absolutely have to come out to our April 23rd event. Let me hand that to you. I mean, what are we expecting to hear from you? What should we be prepping for?
Well, firstly, you don't have to come on April the 23rd, right? If you are very happy, complacently doing what you're doing right now, if you have all the skills that you need to be able to develop the results you're looking for, if you're winning every piece of business that you'd like to win at the level that you'd like to win it at, and life is downhill and wind is at your back, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, if what you're looking to be able to do is to be challenged about your existing processes, learn some skills to have you having not only the ability to create more opportunities, but convert more opportunities. And you're surrounding yourself with people that are keen and passionate to be able to level up, then that's exactly what we're going to be diving deep on when we're together and in the Toronto region in what is now, like less than a month from right now. So I'd say only don't come if you have somewhere better to be. But if you have nowhere better to be than surrounded by a group of people that are going to help give you both the skill set, the mindset, and the attitude to finish the year strong, then get yourself on a plane, a car, a train, and come join the experience that we have together in Toronto, because I'm bringing it. The last few years, the exposure I've had inside the real estate industry have helped me realize something mega exciting. Certainly exciting for you is the collective incompetence of the entire industry is really quite liberating once you appreciate it. The person that is being underserved at scale right now are the dozens, hundreds, perhaps even thousands of families that are sat at home right now saying, shall we or shan't we make a move? And they desperately need your help. The industry has been working 30, 60, 90-day pipelines for too long. We need to be working 30, 60, 90-month pipelines. And that means we have to learn how to get into conversations that are different than I'm thinking of buying or I'm thinking of selling. Can you help? We have to find people earlier in that. Also, more real than ever is the people that you are calling your past clients or indeed your clients may not be calling you their agent.
Ouch.
And the way the lead flow is happening right now, everybody that is in your CRM is also highly likely to be on somebody else's prospect list. So if you don't learn how to stay valuable, not stay in touch, not drip all over people, stay valuable to the people that you've already earned relationships with, then what you think is your future business is somebody else's future lunch.
Wow. That's super powerful, because you said a couple of things in there that I know there are going to be people that are going to question that, because we've heard it a certain way for so long, and you've come in and sort of changed our thinking, changed the way we're looking at stuff. And one of the things I heard you say in the past is stop going on listing presentations.
Right.
And I thought, how crazy is that to say, and such a bold comment to say to realtors? I'd love for you to deep dive on that. And even some of the stuff you just said is, hey, they're in my database, but they're in probably 10 other people's database. I think I've got a past client, and you're just telling me I may not have anything.
The fear that many real estate agents have right now is the industry being commoditized based on who's the fastest, who's the cheapest.
Right.
And there isn't a single consumer that has asked for that unless they were not given anything else to compare on. And the reason that we're being pushed for prices is because they haven't got any other ways of being able to delineate what the differentiator is. They see many people as doing the exact same job in a very similar way, so they put pressure on you from a downward price pressure point of view. Is the point that I made about not going on listing presentations is if you show up and throw up your version of my dad's better than your dad, which is what many people do in a listing presentation, is they pitch their 27-point marketing plan and explain the number of houses they've sold for others in the past and share some comps and some evidence. And they say, what makes us different is, and their what makes us different is presentation is the exact same thing as what the other dude said is what makes them different. They're wondering why they don't differentiate.
Right.
Possibly the biggest idea that once people wrap their head around this fully, and I know many people already know this, is that you are not in the business of selling real estate. You're actually in the business of helping people navigate one of the most emotionally charged set of decisions that exist in their life. You're not in the business of selling real estate. You're in the business of helping other people navigate what was one of the most emotionally charged decisions in their life. It's not even necessarily their biggest investment. It might be, but it also might not be. But it is definitely one of the most emotionally charged decisions that exist in their life. And that requires a level of emotional intelligence and skill that is missing from most agents. Easiest way to be able to differentiate yourself as an agent in today's marketplace is learn what help looks like for the people you want to help.
Right.
And then do it, don't offer it. That sounds so simple. But we say things like, if there's anything I can do to help, then please don't hesitate to ask. If you're saying to somebody, if there's anything I can do to help, please don't hesitate to ask, you are not helpful because you don't know what help looks like.
Right.
If we can find out what help looks like for people, and instead of working massive databases, work meaningful connections with real people to help them navigate the decision-making process, you will not only enjoy your work more, have less stress and burnout, you will also access something really quite exciting, which is obnoxious levels of conversion. That's the byproduct. You don't get 1 in 3 anymore. You get 3 in 3 almost all the time. It just takes you a little longer to get there. At least you think it does.
Right.
And instead of it being like a fight and a struggle and a tussle and like, I won the business, I won the listing, I won the client, it just becomes the next natural step, the next natural step. And what you're doing is that you're putting yourself into a situation that you are waterproofing every other relationship because other people can't get in because you're doing such a good job of it. That's the goal to get to. And I think Andre, this is a reasonably big idea, is we have got a lot of automation tools and systems that are available to us to run our businesses today that are different than what they even were 24 months ago, all that save us a lot of time. People think that people will lose their jobs to tools like AI and automations and systems. You won't lose your business to systems. You'll lose your business to people that use those systems to buy them back time, that then use those times to enhance consumer relationships. It's what is done with the time that tools like AI save that will be the differentiator. It's not the tech that will create the win. It's how the tech saves time and how you use that time that will drive the win. And I think most people have no idea on what to do with that time because we've been so hell-bent on more, reach, but now everything's saturated.
Right.
Like you don't want another email in your inbox, right?
No, sir. Wouldn't you then take that time and you're going to probably toss this one right back is you go out and you air quotes, touch someone, right? Like go get a touch in, go talk to them. What would you do at the time?
Well, I mean, this sounds so obvious. It beats my mind that people only treat somebody as a prospect in real estate once they've raised their hand and say that they're a prospect.
Right.
Yours is one of the only products that almost every human being on the planet is going to interact with at some point, multiple points through their lifetime. Like all you've got to do is to step out of your house And every adult that you come into contact with is highly likely to have a local real estate need at some point in the not too distant future.
Wow.
Like, why are we not talking to them? Like, Andre, you know when your next move is, right? Not for sure, but you have some idea what you might do next. Even if it's a decade away, you have an idea of what your next move might be for you and your family unit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your agent doesn't know.
Correct.
Most consumers have some idea about where, when, and how they might move next. And most agents have no idea. So we keep showing up and dripping and touching them and checking in on them and circling back with them. But you don't know what they might be thinking about because they only see you as useful when you are in your final mile. And note that your value is only valuable in two circumstances. Your value is only valuable where it is both appreciated and it is appreciating.
Right.
Appreciated means that you have to meet the moment where it's at. Like, none of you right now, I'm guessing, are looking for an oversized slice of pepperoni pizza. But I tell you what, 10 p.m. at night, you've not eaten anything else, you had a couple of drinks, like, you'd be like, give me the slice of pizza, but it's probably not anybody's favorite breakfast item. So, like, it has to show up at the right time, but also your value has to appreciate over time. One of the hardest things for either a buyer's agent or a listing agent to be able to justify towards their client is why you're worth your money. If you can get to them earlier and compound your value over a sustained period of time, there's less of an argument of why you're worth your money.
Right.
Because you help them decipher the decision long ahead of time.
Could you almost look at that sort of, one of the concepts that I've taught is the relationship bank, right? Where you've got time with this person, you've made deposits there, that when you get to the commission conversation, you're not really having it because you've already developed the relationship, you've got the value, you've done everything for them, that they're probably not going to question whatever your commission rate is at that point.
Yeah, providing you're reasonable, it's well, of course.
That makes perfect sense. So how do you talk yourself into that conversation? Is that where sort of the book helps, or are you just basically saying go develop relationships with everybody that you know?
Both those things. You have to learn how. I mean, let's look at one puzzle right now, and I see Michelle's here in the chat. Good that Bo's joining us, and Susan jumped in, and Bill's here, and Tara's there, and others are with us live in this, which is super cool. But you've got people that you've done business with in the past that you'd like to reconnect with, yes?
Yes.
What do we say to those people? If you were to pick up the phone to them today, send a text message, send a DM, like what do we say?
Hey, it's Andre. How are you?
Right. So we ask people a question that almost certainly results in them lying to us.
I'm great.
I'm not joking, right? Like, because they say, yeah, I'm great. How about you? You say, I'm great too. You could have had the worst morning of your life and you say you're great.
Right.
Because what we have is surface level conversations. We're seeing deeper level conversations happen with chatbots than happen between human to human.
Yeah.
And it's because we didn't have skill or structure. If I was to pick up the phone to you, Andre, and say, hey, last time we spoke, we were prepping towards the event that was happening in April, and I know that you had some specific goals that you were looking to achieve for that event. How did your experience play out at the event versus your aspirations? Oh, look, very different conversation. Yeah, contextualized with value that appreciates instead of small talk. Same would be true if you were reconnecting with a client that you sold a house to in 2021 is, hey, back in 2021, I helped you buy your house. And they're like, yeah, you did. I know that you've now been there 5 years. You guys still living in the house or has something changed? Oh, yeah, no, we're still living here. How's the house performed for you over the last 5 years? What are some of the changes that you've gone on to be able to make? What did you decide on doing with which kids were going to be in which bedrooms?
Right. So that first skill is listening and understanding the client, taking really good notes, and then being able to articulate that back to them.
Much of that. But I find it fascinating that people are like, oh, ChatGPT is really good. You just have to prompt it right. I'm like, welcome to a new idea. The same has been true with humans forever. We just have to prompt them right. And you get better outcomes and better responses. Right. So I'm mega excited about the age that we're going into in this profession. This is clearly becoming a skills-based economy, not an effort reach technologically enforced economy. It's the ones that can truly connect. It's the ones that have the skill to navigate the complexities. It's the ones that are going to be able to help somebody explain to somebody why they're better to pay more money with you than less money with someone else. It's the people that can help people get off the fence, that are, hanging on to a low rate, or believe there's no inventory, or are scared about waiting for something to happen with an election, or something that's going to change about US tariffs, or whatever it is that somebody's scared about doing. They need real people to get into real mess with them to help them navigate the decision that's right for them. And that's different person to person. And if that wasn't true, we wouldn't need agents. It could be one click to buy. There could be an institutionalized service that could allow this to get done. It's not your knowledge of real estate that makes you valuable. It's your knowledge of helping people navigate complex decisions.
So you wouldn't say that, we've been back and forth with this for years on whether the real estate agent will become invaluable to the process. What you're saying is real estate agents more critical today than ever before if they're trained right and understand what to do.
A good one. And like what's going to happen is it's going to go in one of two directions, right? Is if you are a walking, talking brochure that understands the neighborhood and can provide comps and give people a playbook of what it's going to take to get from here to here, if that's all you got, understand that technology is likely to do it better.
Right.
The human elements to be able to get into the mess with people is what technology is currently not able to do. And if you both care enough and are skilled enough to be able to do that, you will become more valuable than ever.
Well, there's probably no way for a chatbot to stop you from being fearful.
Correct. It's not going to. Nor is the chatbot going to sit inside somebody's living room and help them make a decision. Nor is it going to be able to help navigate. Because here's something that technology can do. It can deal with a conversation that's one-on-one. It can't deal with a conversation that has an external, like, real big contributor that's on the sidelines that's not in this conversation here. And how many real estate transactions have multiple stakeholders?
At least one other, right? At least two.
Yeah, most of them have all these hidden stakeholders, and some of those stakeholders are the media or the grandparent or a work colleague or a friend or a social dynamic of how this interacts. Right. That requires emotional intelligence to read this body of stakeholders and say, how do I pull this together? There are three things that everybody wants to make a decision with confidence. One is they want to feel smart. Two is they want to feel capable. And three is they want to feel good. Those three things come out of a book by a friend of mine called Tamsin Webster. She wrote a book called The Red Thread. And it helps people get their messaging right from a marketing point of view. But those same three things exist in helping people make decisions on a one-on-one basis.
Right.
So relevant in the real estate space. What does smart mean? I have enough information to make a decision. The trouble is most people in this profession right now have too much information, which is why they can't make a decision.
Right.
They want to feel smart enough to be able to make a decision. Capable is it's within my means. That means that there aren't going to be bad things. It means that if there are bad things, I can deal with it. If this doesn't go perfect, it's not as big deal as what it could be. It's like, it's fine, I got this. But good is the interesting one here, Andre. It's like, how many decisions have you made in your life that you've never needed to think about again?
None.
Not true. Gazillions of them. So many. The decisions that you've made in your life that you've never thought about again are your good decisions.
Correct.
They're not your greatest decisions, and nor are they your bad decisions. Your great decisions we revisit, right? We try and tell other people about them and share with others how awesome we are. Our less than perfect decisions. Oh, we want do-overs on those, right? We'd like to revisit and change them. But your good decisions, they just happen. They just happen. They just happen. And you compound them that you don't think about them again because you don't need to. There's no value in rethinking them because they were just good decisions.
Right.
That's what we want people to feel about in the real estate space. Just made a good decision. Life goes on.
Right. By picking.
And this is so much more important.
Yeah. I got you.
Like, we're not in the business of finding the perfect buyer for a house. We're not in the business of helping people find the perfect house because they almost certainly won't exist. So the skill in today's market is helping people feel smart, capable, and good and making less than perfect decisions.
Now, does that fall into, and one of the things that you talk about in your book is being influential versus persuasive. And I know that's a big topic because everyone wants to persuade people to do things, but you've sort of flipped that on its head and said, you don't want to be that person.
If you help somebody do something for your reasons and not theirs, there will be a point in time in their future where they will regret it. And they will blame you. If you help people do things for their reasons and not yours, they will be grateful to you regardless.
Right. No matter the outcome.
They will be grateful to you regardless. If it was something that they felt confident that the decision was the right decision for them at the time. Is being influential is doing something for somebody.
Right.
Being manipulative is doing something to somebody. And we want to show up for people. The agents in our sphere and our environment that we support, the brand that we love so dearly, the consumers within our reach, the clients past, present, and future that we'd like to be able to help, is we want them all to wake up in a decade's time and say thank you, not something that sounds like that.
Right. Makes perfect sense.
And this is all very easy in theory and a touch more challenging in real life.
Yeah.
And what it requires for you to do this is the ability to step inside complex conversations and know that you've got skills and techniques and tools that can allow people to navigate the chaos.
Right.
That's what we're going to teach.
That's amazing. Now, Phil, I know we only have maybe 30 more seconds. Is there anything that you want everyone in Canada to know before we get to our event on April 23rd?
What you've been doing to get you where you are right now is good work. We've heard the old saying that what got you here won't get you there. I think it also won't keep you here.
Right.
Because the landscape is so much more challenging than it once was, that if you're not changing, evolving, you're dying. And that's okay if that's where you want to be. But if you have a long-term success plan of what you'd like to achieve in your real estate career, it's okay to admit that you might need some help. And asking for help and developing new skills is a superpower. Thinking you've got it all figured out is the arrogance that could cost you your life and your business. So if you're keen to learn, looking for practical skills, I'm not holding anything back when we're together in Toronto. And I cannot wait to be able to deliver something for the first time in Canada as well, right? There's a lot that happens south of the border, and we all know what the US thinks of itself. But I celebrate much of the same royal family as you folks do up north of the border as well. And I'm excited that we bring something big and meaningful to the Canadian marketplace and look to be able to show rest of KW what's up north, right? It's going to be fun.
I love it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Folks, thank you for joining us. We do have to get Phil back in his calendar. Thank you. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, Phil. I'm excited for April 23rd. We know you're going to bring it for an entire day. Guys, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, please reach out to your market center. And Phil, thank you so much for being here. I know that you're on Instagram, and grab the book if you haven't had a chance yet, Exactly What to Say by Phil M. Jones. Appreciate you, Phil.
Thank you. See you soon.